Everybody, my question for you is, would you get this COVID vaccine or not? That is a huge question in today's pandemic, whether to trust these vaccines that were developed through different forms in a matter of months, when the normal range of testing for a vaccine is 10 to 15 years. Yes, vaccines are needed. They prevent sickness. With this new vaccine, it surpassed multiple different phases needed that usually take years. This pandemic has been hard for everybody, having to go outside with the mask all the time and not being able to go where we please. Yes, we need this vaccine, but how safe is this vaccine? And how to go through different phases so fast. This is important to talk about because this is something we're putting into our bodies. The information I found is still very new. And each day there's something new. A new side effect, and also how accessible this vaccine is. From what I have read, the vaccines went into each phase fast, since there was such a demand because of the pandemic, and was surpassed by multiple different executive orders. The pros and cons of this vaccine and why the companies are able to pass red tape. We need to choose wisely what we put into our bodies. My first main point is, first off, we'll discuss how many vaccines there are and their names and how they are different. Next, we'll talk about the normal process of development of a vaccine past so many years of testing. Lastly, how safe is this vaccine? Okay, now that I gave you a preview of the topic, I will tell you almost different about the different types of vaccines and how they are different. Okay, there are 3 types of vaccines: the Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. As documented, Pfizer and Moderna require 2 sets of shots in a matter of 2 to 3 weeks. With the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, it is 1 single dose. They use different methods to help build defenses in our body. According to the New York Times article, how is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine different from the Pfizer Moderna by Patrick J. Lyons? Pfizer and Moderna use a messenger RNA, and a Johnson & Johnson use a viral vector, AD26, which does not cause illness. The effectiveness of each one is a little bit different. Johnson & Johnson vaccine is about 85% effective, with the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine is about 95% effective, according to the CDC website. When it comes to side effects, according to Johns Hopkins website, there is not much difference between Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. The common side effects recorded by the FDA was injection site pain, headache, fatigue, muscle aches, and nausea. They're very similar to the Pfizer, Moderna. Now this leads me on to my next main point: why this vaccine was rushed and how this vaccine passed many years of testing. The COVID vaccine was pressured because we all know we live in this pandemic. The vaccine was created within months rather than what seems quick phases. I found the process of each vaccine and how it is done in phases. And according to the historyofvaccines.org, the first stages are exploratory in nature. Regulation and oversight increase as candidate vaccines makes its way through the process. With the COVID vaccines, the process was expedited due to the demand during this pandemic. According to Medical News Today article, how do we develop the COVID-19 vaccine so quickly? Because this was a worldwide problem, so where scientists all over the world share their data. Also, since this virus is part of a SARS-CoV-2 family, there was already kind of data on this virus. On Forbes' website, say that President Trump signed an executive order that prioritized Americans in receiving this vaccine and threatened the pharmaceutical companies with the Defense Production Act. After discussing this information of why this vaccine was rushed and how it was rushed, I'm still going to go through, and it still went through FDA required trials. I want to tell you whether this vaccine is safe or not. This is an important topic because the fact that there's a lot of question on which vaccine is better for you and what's going to happen to your body, because everybody reacts differently to a vaccine. Most importantly, I want to make sure it's safe for you. According to the CDC website, this vaccine is safe and effective because they go through various safety tests. And according to Dr. Joel Ernest, a professor of medicine, chief division of experimental medicine, stated to UCSF that for him, knowing that this vaccine was tested a broad population of people in phase 3 testing with minimal side effects, he also stated that this was a personal choice of receiving the vaccine. In closing today, I talked about different types of vaccines and why this vaccine surpassed so many years of phases, and lastly, that this vaccine was safe to take. The COVID vaccine is a huge current event right now. 3 million people actually get vaccinated a day, according to the CDC website. My next question for you, and my last question for you, would you get this COVID vaccine or not?